Hey YouTube, Taekwondo Sarah coming at you with another action figure review, and today we are changing things around. Instead of going with Jurassic World stuff, we are going to have a look at back to Spinmasters and their DC Metal Force. Now, I did review one or two of the Metal Force things already, which was the Metal Force Bat transforming Batwing, which came with a Batman and a Superman with the kind of vac metalized torsos. And now this is one of the mech suits. So I don't know if there's a specific line name for this version or like a subline for this. There is two kind of versions of these mech suit ones, especially for the Batman figure. The Batman figure with the mech suit seem to have the same looking suit, but there's a version of it where you get, like this, you get a small 3¼ inch or 4-inch scale figure who can fit into the suit. And then there's another version of the suit, which is basically Batman already in the suit, and it has like an opening canopy so you can see the kind of smaller version Batman head, and it's its own figure. And in that figure line, there is a couple of other figures that have a similar feature, which has like the pre-armored up figure. So there's a Lex Luthor, there's a Gorilla Grodd, there's Batman, there's Superman, and I believe there was a Joker as well in that line. I know I had a quick look when I was picking this one up. I had a quick look at the one on the back of the box for it. Now, there isn't one of them on the back of the box for this, unfortunately. Just throw on an extra light there, just get some extra light on the subject. Now, I don't have on packaging for this. It doesn't showcase the other figures in the wave. From what I could see in this particular lineup, there was only two. So there's this Joker figure, which you can see his name down here in the corner, and then there's an image of the Joker. If I just pan up a small bit with my camera, you'll see an image of Joker. Now, the Batman one is very similar in the way it's packaged, except obviously it shows Batman instead of Joker. And it still has a kind of similar looking mech suit. If I flip around the back of the box, and I'm going to have to pan up the camera again so you can see the insert, or the back of the box. It just showcases the figure within and basically what you can do with the figure. And then there's a huge lot of legalese stuff. So I will point out that this is an open window, kind of open window packaging. So the mech suit itself is sitting here. It is an out display, where the figure itself is in this corner. So the figure is housed here. Obviously, I've removed everything. When I was opening this, there's a kind of collector card thing. So when I was opening this packaging got kind of ripped, so you can see that. But it does showcase Joker in his mech suit. There is a few bits of assembly required, and I'll get into that when we get into the suit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up for reviewing the suit, and we'll go from there. So bear with me a moment and we'll be right back. So here is the mech suit and the figure in all its glory. Now, there is some assembly required in the sense that there is two missiles on this. One is kind of blatantly obvious with this buzzsaw on the left hand. Now, these aren't spring-loaded, they're friction-loaded. So if I just pop this one out, hopefully it won't skitter. So the way it is designed, yeah, it only goes in one way. It has this kind of bulge here. And when it goes into a certain depth into the arm, you have to kind of force it in and it clicks into place. So there isn't a spring inside that. You kind of push it from behind, as you saw, and it shoots out that way. It is fairly powerful friction. And the other one, if you can't figure it out, you will be able to see it here on the back of the hand. So it is this hand itself. Let's see if we can punch Joker in the face with it. So it is friction loaded. You can actually rotate the fist on this side, which is interesting. You can't on the other side. So let's do it that way. Actually, no, we will do it this way. So we'll see if we can punch Joker in the face. Yep. So again, you have this indent, and you can actually see it on the wrist. You can see here there's 2 holes on either side of the wrist, so it is designed so it only goes in the one way. And then when it goes in, it clicks into place, and then you have to kind of friction push this out for it to fire out. So before we go through the mech suit, there is also a collector card. The collector card has QR codes on the front and just on the front. It showcases Joker in his mech suit looking pretty. It doesn't look as good as the artwork on the cover of the box. He looks kind of like he's dancing or something, which is kind of a weird look for Joker, but it has a very anime look to it. And if I bring in the previous cards, these are the ones from that transforming Batwing. The base is a separate piece, and they all appear to be the same. This kind of dark plastic has Metal Force logo on it, and then you can just pop these out. It's probably easier to do it this way. There's a small peg hole on one side, and I think the idea is you build them up. And on the back, I know it probably won't match up because I don't have them in sequence, but you can see there's the Gorilla Grodd suit, the mech suit I was on about. So there is a version of this in the mech suit. So I haven't seen it, but it is one out there. This sequence, I think this probably goes this side. It kind of looks like it has that look to it, but I don't know if it's part of the same sequence of cards. It could be just 2 individual cards. So the Batsuit one has one that probably has him facing off against Joker in the Batsuit, and so on and so forth. But the more you collect of these kind of collector cards, and they're fairly hard card stock as well, they're not too flimsy, so the more you collect of them, the more of the little diorama kind of cartoon comic book thing on the back that you have. So getting into, we'll get through the Joker figure first because he's fairly plain. He doesn't come with any accessories that I could find. Sorry, I'm just moving something out of the way. So from what I can see, he does look to be an exact just repack of the single carded version of Joker. The only difference I can see is the eyes on this one seem to be a little bit more washed out. The grey on it doesn't seem to be as defined. Now it could be just my one. They only had the one version of the Joker suit, hence why I got that over the Batman one. They had a couple of the Batman ones, but they only had one of Joker's suit. But from what I can see, the figure just looks the same, although the eyes are a little bit more washed out on the one that came with the mech suit. I don't know if it's showing that. He still has the same peg hole thing on the back, so if you have one of those accessories that can plug into the back, like the action gimmick backpacks or the kind of weird little Batwing things, you can add that. I don't think there was any specific one for the bad guys, but they had a couple of bad guys that had action packs, like what's his name, Tiger Claw had an action feature backpack. So if you have one of them, you can do that. So moving figure out of the way, we'll get onto the suit. So the suit, as I said, has some assembly required. We'll just do a 360 of it. You can see it's fairly plain on the back. Most of the paint apps, in fact nearly all the paint apps, are on the front. There's a small bit of green here for that kind of nuclear symbol power generator thing that looks like it has on the, there is even a unpainted biohazard symbol on the back of this. So I think it's supposed to be like a nuclear powered or some sort of radiation powered or some sort of energy powered suit. He has what looks like the flower on his chest section, which is kind of cool, the acid squirting flower. He does have that buzzsaw. I suppose you can kind of give this to Joker as a weapon if he can hold it. I don't think he can because the hands are not designed to really hold this. You can kind of give it to him, but it stretches out the hand. So if you want him to hold any of the other kind of small weapons from that series, it probably won't fit too well. So the suit is fairly limited in articulation. We'll do the articulation on that. So arms can only go forward that much. It is hindered by this piece here, and it can go back that much. There is a single jointed elbow with a swivel. Obviously you have that swivel in the wrist for the firing wrist, or for the missile launching wrist. Nothing in the opposite wrist. You have the buzzsaw piece that kind of comes off. There is nothing in the legs. The legs are static, they don't move, and there's no waist articulation because of the gimmick on this. So the way you fit the figure in this thing, now I do love the look of it, and this isn't the first time they've done a Joker style mech in this line. There is a previous one out there in the ether, which is one I never picked up, and if I can find a picture of it, I'll throw it up here or here or here somewhere in this so you can see what it looks like. It's very similar in paint deco, but it was more translucent, and it still had, I think, the, you know, Joker smile on it and the ha 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 kind of thing going on. But it's, I'm assuming this is supposed to be like a stolen, I would imagine it's almost like a stolen LexCorp suit that Joker repurposed, if that's the way the story goes for it, because it has a very Lex Luthor look to it compared to something from Batman. It doesn't, like the Batman would have the bat cowls on it, I would imagine, and stuff, kind of bat iconography. This one looks more like it was something that might have been stolen from either Star Labs or Lex Luthor. And I'm kind of more leaning with Lex Luthor because of the greens on it, and it has kind of similar paint coloring to Lex's kind of style. So the way this works for putting the figure in, you open up here, there's a hinge up here. Now this whole piece is a chrome plastic, so I am kind of worried about the longevity of this, because chrome plastic has a tendency to be get very brittle over time. So, and I think the Batman one has chrome on it, but it's more the body is made out of the chrome, whereas this has the hinge. I don't think the hinge for the Batman one, for the cowl one, has chrome in it. And then there's additional pieces that you fold down here, and you can see this is where the feet should rest of the figure, and the figure fits in here. So you take Mr. J, we'll pop him in, and we will click these in. They do click into place. There's a little clip in here, and it just kind of friction clicks into place, and then this folds down, and then that clips into place as well. And then you got Joker all suited up in his mech suit. So you have that. Let's see if I'm bringing him closer so you can see his head in there. Now he does look pretty cool. And now I know this, some people are like not a big fan of this version of Joker because he's very slimline compared to the previous version that they did. So if I take Joker out, let's pop you out. I'll bring in one of the previous versions. This is the one that has all the kind of extra detailing on him. You can see how more chunky the the first versions of Joker were. He will, excuse me, he will still fit into the mech suit. So if you have one of these versions, if you have the one in the purple suit that had just the gear on it, he should fit too. So you can clip him in. You just have to make sure his hands are kind of out of the way, and you can clip that one in, and you can have him. He has a slightly bigger head, so he's a bit more noticeable in there compared to the other one, but you can have him in that, and he looks pretty boss in his suit. And we will go along with, actually before I bring in other figures to see if they will fit, we'll just run down Joker's articulation quickly. So like a lot of this line, he's not limited too much, but he doesn't have a huge range. So you have the arms can swivel all the way around, has a shoulder joint, can go up that much, T-pose that much. We got single jointed elbows with a swivel. There is nothing in the wrist, as is the case with a lot of these. He does have a ball jointed head, but it's very tight on mine, so I'm scared that this neck peg will snap at some point. He can kick forward. He has a thigh swivel. His legs can do the splits that much. It's not too much hindered by his skirt or waistcoat piece. He can kick back a bit, but it's kicking forward into seating. He can go into a seated position. The only problem is if you are trying to fit him into something, this will have to be pushed out of the way somewhat. He does have a single jointed knee with swivel and then nothing at the ankles, as is the case for a lot of these figures, and he does have peg holes on the bottom of his feet. So if I can find one of the pegs on here, there's one back here, and it's not the right size, unfortunately. Or oh, maybe it is. So if you have some of these Fortnite base plates, which I use for my review station, some of them came with peg holes, and you can actually peg them into that. So they don't come with a stand per se. They do come with that small card stand, display stand, but there isn't a peg hole for the figure on those. So you do have that. So getting back to the mech suit, we will do a quick comparison with some other figures in 3 3/4 inch line. So as you can see, you don't have to fully open those to get the feet out, but it does help. So what will we start with? We will start with, because I have one handy, let's see if one of the retro style Cobra Troopers will fit in there. It might be a bit too big, or the gear on him might be a bit too squishy. Let's see, we can get his feet in. Oh, we can get him in. So if you want something to repaint as a Cobra Snake armor for a more modern look, you could do that. You could get one of these and repaint it. I'm not sure if the Batman suit would work the same, but it is pretty cool. So we'll pop you out, squidge you out of there. Because I did a review from recently, and I have him still standing here, we'll put a Moro Ray from the Gundam series. I'll give you a little Gundam-esque mech suit and see if you will fit into that. You should do, because he's fairly plain. Yep. A Moro Ray from the GMG or Gundam Military Generation will fit in there, no bother. Oop. Here we go. Let's see if something a little more bulky. Now let's try April. April from the Joy Toy figure line. She may not get all the way in because of her pouch on the side of her leg, but she's not quite fully down. Oop. Get April in. She seems a little bit squished. Just move her hands a bit so they're not completely squished in there. Yep, you can get April, the 1 to 18 scale April O'Neil in there quite comfortably. She's a little squished into the top of the mech, but you can see her in there. And we'll just do one more. Who will we get? Let's get one of the Jurassic World Rebirth. This is a Dr. Lomas figure. I'll open the bottom feet piece, but we should be able to get him in there. So he can fit in there quite nicely, and he fits in the mech suit. So all in all, it is a pretty cool mech suit. It is fairly simplistic. It's fairly limited in articulation, but you can get some posing out of it. I prefer this Joker to go in there because the head is just that bit more bigger. It makes him look a little bit more intimidating. So if you want to have him, don't have one of the other Batmans to hand away. I don't, unfortunately, but we'll get the Batman. We'll get the old Robert Pattinson Batman. In fact, we'll do it this way. So if you want Batman to be knocked out by Joker, you can do it. So it's not a bad figure set, figure and mech set. I will probably pick up the Batman one to do a review for that, because I do like a lot of the Batman style stuff that they do for this line. But overall, it is quite a nice set, and I do recommend picking it up if you can find it. Now, I picked this one up at a place called World of Wonder. It's a kind of a toy chain store here in Ireland. It's not one that I frequent too much. Usually I go to Smith's because they're closer, but this one I took a chance to see if they had anything interesting. They had some nice, they do have a lot of Chap May, well, I wouldn't say Chap May stuff, but it's like bootleg Chap May Soldier Force kind of things, and they tend to have them in, and the Dino was it Dino World or Dino Land or Dino Adventure stuff, which is like dinosaur, like knockoff Jurassic Park stuff. They do tend to have some of those in every so often, and they're actually cheap enough to pick up some of the vehicles for customization. So I do tend to pop in there every now and again just to see if they have anything of interest. But this time around they had this set, so I decided to pick this up. So there you go, guys. There is a review for the Joker mech suit from the Metal Force line. Now this is the Joker wearable suit as opposed to the Joker in suit. So if you want to pick one up, I'd say your best bet might be Amazon. They should be up in Amazon, and I don't know if Smiths have them. They have a bit of a splattering in regards to this particular line, the Metal Force. They have one or two things. They don't have everything, and some of the stuff they have are the like larger 6 and 12-inch scale stuff. So it is kind of hit and miss what they have. So I will, if I find a link for them on Amazon, I'll throw a link in the description for the video below. If not, just kind of source out hunting, and hopefully you're able to find and track one of these down. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching my video review for this mech suit. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Help hit the subscribe button and help build my channel base, which would be very nice. I do appreciate all the support that I get from people commenting and hitting the like button. So I would like to one day get maybe 100 likes on the video. It would be nice. If even if I can get that, that would be a nice bit. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching, and as always, I hope you enjoy your day, and I hope you are safe wherever you are. Cheers. Thanks for watching.